The notification pinged on my phone during a Tuesday morning meeting. VRBO listing alert. 247 Dune Road, Montauk. My address. My beach house. The house where I'd gotten married 2 years ago, where Sarah Chin VRBO CO had given a toast about finding sanctuary in beautiful places. I clicked through. The photos were good. Mom had angles I'd never considered. She'd shot the infinity pool at sunset, the master bedroom with morning light streaming through the French doors, the chef's kitchen with staged bowls of lemons and fresh flowers. Luxury Montauk Beachfront Estate, the listing read. $8,500 per week. Sleeps 12. Private beach access. Infinity pool. Chef's kitchen. 14 weeks were already booked. June through August completely filled. The calendar glowed green with confirmed reservations. I did the math quickly. 14 weeks times $8,500 equals $119,000 in bookings. VRBO's service fees would reduce that, but Mom was looking at roughly $95,000 in rental income. From my house. The property description was detailed. Family estate available for summer season. Owner traveling abroad for extended research sabbatical. This stunning oceanfront property offers the ultimate Hamptons experience with 4,000 square feet of luxury living space, private beach stairs, heated infinity pool, and sunset views that will take your breath away. The house rules were strict. No parties, no pets, no smoking, respect the neighbors, check out by 10 a.m. sharp. There was even a guest manual linked, a PDF I'd never seen, professionally formatted with check-in instructions, Wi-Fi passwords, restaurant recommendations, emergency contact numbers, and a list of house rules that ran 3 pages. She'd put genuine effort into this fraud. I scrolled through the reviews from her profile. This wasn't her first listing. She'd apparently been renting family properties in the Hamptons for 3 years. 47 5-star reviews. Margaret is an amazing host. Communication was excellent and the house was even better than the photos. Can't wait to return next summer. Best vacation rental we've ever booked. One review from last August made my stomach turn. Margaret was so accommodating when we had questions. She even drove by to drop off extra beach towels. Such a personal touch. She'd driven to my house. To service her rental guests. At my property. My phone buzzed. A text from my brother. Did you see Mom's excited about her rental business expansion? She's buying a Range Rover with the deposits. Dad says she's a natural entrepreneur. I set my phone face down and returned to my meeting. The presentation on Q2 marketing strategy suddenly felt very far away. My colleague was talking about conversion rates and customer acquisition costs, but I was calculating a different kind of cost. 3 years of unauthorized use. 47 rentals. How much had she made from properties that weren't hers? That evening I sat in my apartment, the modest 1-bedroom in Brooklyn that Mom loved to call, that starter place you're still in, and fine for now but eventually you'll want a real home, and opened my files. The beach house deed, purchased in 2019 for $2.1 million. My name only. Emily Catherine Whitfield. The mortgage statements, paid from my account every month for 61 consecutive months. The property tax receipts $47,000 annually, my signature on every check. I'd bought the house with my first book advance, a technical manual on software architecture that had unexpectedly become an industry standard, and 3 years of saved royalties. Mom had called it a nice investment property when I told the family over dinner. Dad had suggested I might want to get professional property management advice since this is a bit beyond your expertise. My brother had laughed. Guess we know where we're spending our summers now. Better stock the fridge, sis. I'd never offered it to them. They'd simply arrived. The first summer they'd shown up with soup cans for 2 weeks in July. Family bonding time, Mom had announced from my driveway, already unloading. I'd been there working on my second book, using the Atlantic as inspiration for a chapter on distributed systems. The parallels between wave patterns and data flow. They treated me like staff, asking me to pick up groceries from the specific organic market 40 minutes away, make dinner reservations at restaurants that required 2 months advance booking, arrange beach chairs at the private beach club, coordinate a fishing charter for Dad. When I'd mentioned I was trying to work, that I had a manuscript deadline in 3 weeks, Dad had said, "You can write anywhere. This is family time. You need to learn to balance work and what matters." Mom had added, "Don't be antisocial. We came all this way to spend time with you." The second summer they'd come for a month. Without asking, I'd been in the middle of a crucial deadline, technical edits on 3 chapters due simultaneously, and had to rent a hotel room in town just to have quiet. The Montauk Manor, $425 per night for 12 nights. "So sensitive," Mom had told her sister on speakerphone while I'd packed a bag. "Can't even enjoy her own house. I don't know where we went wrong raising her." This past summer I hadn't gone at all. I'd spent July and August in a writing residency in Vermont, a competitive program I'd applied to 3 times before being accepted. When I'd returned in September, the house had smelled like other people, multiple other people. Different shampoo in the bathrooms. The linens were changed to a thread count I'd never purchased. The refrigerator had been cleaned out completely, professionally, with none of my staples remaining. A guest book sat on the coffee table filled with names I didn't recognize and effusive thanks to Margaret for sharing this paradise. And "Margaret, you've created such a welcoming space, and thank you, Margaret, for the best family vacation ever." I'd said nothing. I'd photographed everything. Every page of the guest book. Every receipt I found in the trash. Grocery deliveries, cleaning services, pool maintenance. All billed to my address, paid from accounts I didn't recognize. Now looking at the VRBO listing, I understood. Mom hadn't just been using the house. She'd been monetizing it. While telling her friends about helping my daughter manage her little beach property, while suggesting to relatives that I didn't really have the temperament for property ownership, she'd been pocketing $8,000 per week from strangers. The gambler's fallacy, I thought. That's what I'd been doing with my family. I'd studied it for my first book. A cognitive bias where people believe that past events influence future probability in independent random events. Feeding coins into a slot machine waiting for the jackpot. The gambler thinks, "I've lost so much, I'm due for a win." But statistically, the jackpot doesn't come more frequently because you've already lost. The house always wins. I'd been playing a rigged game with my family, convinced that one more summer, one more boundary violation, one more silent acceptance would finally trigger their recognition that I deserved dignity. That I was successful. That I'd earned respect. The jackpot was never coming. I opened my laptop and searched for Sarah Chen's contact information. We weren't close friends, but we'd stayed in touch since the wedding. She'd sent a handwritten note after my second book came out. "Your insights on system architecture are brilliant." I shared Chapter 6 with our entire engineering team. I'd sent her flowers when she'd been promoted to CEO. Our relationship was warm, professional, built on genuine mutual respect. I drafted an email. Subject: Property Fraud Alert, 247 Dune Road, Montauk. "Sarah, I need to report fraudulent activity on your platform. The listing at 247 Dune Road, Montauk, listing number 847392, is my property. The account holder, Margaret Whitfield, is my mother. She does not have permission to list, rent, or operate any business from this address. I am the sole owner with full documentation. 14 reservations are currently booked without my authorization or knowledge. I'm available to provide deed, mortgage statements, tax records, and any verification needed. I apologize for the disruption this will cause to guests, but these are fraudulent bookings." I attached 3 PDFs. The property deed showing sole ownership, the most recent property tax bill with my payment confirmation, and a photograph of my driver's license showing the Montauk address. I sent it at 9:47 p.m. The response came at 6:23 a.m. "Emily, I'm horrified. Our trust and safety team is on this immediately. Are you available for a call at 9 a.m.? This is completely unacceptable." The call lasted 12 minutes. Sarah's voice was tight, controlled fury on my behalf. "This is exactly the kind of fraud we've built entire systems to prevent. The fact that it's your own mother makes it worse, not better. Family relationship doesn't grant property rights. I'm so sorry you're dealing with this. What happens now?" I asked. "Every reservation gets cancelled within the hour. Full refunds processed immediately. We absorb that cost, not the guests. Her account is permanently banned from our platform and flagged across our industry network. Our legal team will send a cease and desist by end of business today. If she's collected any money that hasn't been paid out yet, it's frozen pending investigation. And Emily," Sarah's voice softened, "I remember your wedding. Your toast about finding a place that felt like home after years of not feeling at home anywhere. You talked about the sound of the waves being the first thing that ever felt like peace. This violation is unforgivable. By 10 a.m., my phone was vibrating continuously. Mom's calls, 7 in the first 20 minutes. Dad's calls, 3. My brother's single text, "What did you do?" Mom is hysterical. I silenced them all and went to work. I had a meeting at 11, a presentation at 2, a deadline at 5. Life continued. The documentation from VRBO arrived by noon. A PDF titled Account Termination Violation Report detailed everything. Margaret Whitfield had operated fraudulent listings at 3 addresses over 37 months. Total bookings across all properties, $347,000. Properties she'd claimed were family estates she had management authority over. None were hers. One was mine, 247 Dune Road, Montauk, 23 bookings over 3 summers. 2 belonged to distant cousins she hadn't spoken to in years but whose addresses she'd remembered from holiday cards. A ski condo in Stowe, Vermont, and a lake house in Lake George, New York. She'd built an entire business on theft. A rental empire constructed on properties she didn't own, couldn't access without trespassing, and had no legal right to monetize. My lawyer called at 2 p.m. Janet Chin, no relation to Sarah but equally competent. I've reviewed everything you sent. The cease and desist is ready. But Emily, you should know, there's potential criminal liability here. Wire fraud when she accepted payments. Theft by deception. The amounts exceed felony thresholds in New York. If you want to pursue charges. I want her to stop, I said. I want consequences that prevent this from happening again. What does that look like? Civil suit for the full rental income from your property, plus damages for unauthorized use plus legal fees. We push for restitution to the other property owners, your cousins. A restraining order preventing her from accessing the Montauk house or coming within 500 feet. Public record of the judgment so she can't do this elsewhere to anyone else. It's not criminal charges but it's permanent consequences. Do it, I said. The ghost ledger arrived in my mind fully formed that evening. I'd been reading about emotional labor, about invisible costs, about the price of family peace purchased with self-erasure. I opened a spreadsheet and titled it, The Emotional Cost Accounting What Was Really Stolen. Line item 1. Summer 2020 Family Invasion. 2 weeks of interrupted work during crucial book deadline. Tangible cost, $15,000 in lost productivity, $5,100 in hotel expenses to escape my own house. Manuscript delivered 3 weeks late, publisher relationship strained. Intangible cost, the loss of my workspace as sanctuary, the knowledge that my property wasn't safe from them. Line item 2. Every holiday discussion. 4 years of, when are you selling that beach place you can't really afford? At Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, 4th of July. Cost. Credibility with extended family who believed I was financially struggling, reputation as the impractical one, undermining of my professional success. Line item 3. The wedding toast they didn't mention. Mom's speech at my wedding. Emily always loved the ocean as a child. She'd collect shells for hours. No mention of the house I'd bought at 32. No acknowledgement of my success. No recognition of the achievement. Cost. Recognition, pride, celebration, the chance to be seen. Line item 4. The book club narrative. Mom's version shared over wine and book discussion. We're helping Emily manage her investment property. She's brilliant with computers but not practical about real estate. Reality. She was stealing from my investment to fund her lifestyle and reputation. Cost. My story, my truth, the right to my own narrative. Line item 5. 3 summers of assumed access. Never asking. Never offering rent. Never acknowledging ownership. Treating my $2.1 million property like a timeshare they'd earned through parenthood. Cost. Boundaries, respect, basic courtesy, the assumption that my assets were mine to control. Line item 6. That starter apartment comments. 2 years of dismissing my Brooklyn home while secretly profiting from my Montauk property. Cost. The enjoyment of my actual living space, peace in my own chosen home. Total emotional balance. Incalculable. Interest accrued. Compounding. Recovery timeline in progress. Mom appeared at my apartment on Thursday evening. The doorman called up. Margaret Whitfield is here to see you? Tell her I'm not available, I said. She says it's an emergency. Tell her to leave. She called 63 times over the next 4 days. I know because I watched the notifications accumulate, a visual representation of escalating panic. Each voicemail was a progression. Anger, disbelief, bargaining, guilt, rage again. On the 64th call I answered. How could you destroy my business? Her voice was ragged, hoarse from crying or yelling or both. Your business was fraud, I said calmly, my voice level. My house isn't your inventory. That house is family property. Your father and I raised you, we gave you the values that let you earn that money, Neither of your names appear on any legal documents, I interrupted. Not the deed. Not the mortgage. Not the insurance policy. Not the tax bills I've paid for 5 years. The house is mine. The decision to monetize it should have been mine. You stole from me and called it family. We raised you. We gave you everything. You wouldn't exist without us. I thought about this. The familiar guilt trigger. The weaponized gratitude. The unrepayable debt of existence. You raised me, I agreed. That was your obligation as parents. It doesn't grant you lifetime access to my assets. I don't owe you my beach house any more than I owe you my kidney. Both are mine to offer, not yours to take. The silence stretched. I could hear her breathing, sharp and shallow. The lawyer's letter says you want $95,000, she finally said. That's what you owe in refunds to the guest whose reservations you can't honor. The civil suit is separate. That's for the 3 summers of unauthorized use, the rental income you collected from my property and damages for fraud. Different number. You're actually suing your own mother. You actually stole from your own daughter, I replied. We're both doing things we shouldn't have to do. I hung up. The procedural process took 4 months. Discovery revealed everything. Bank statements showing rental deposits to an account in her name only, text messages with guests coordinating check-ins, expenses she'd claimed as property management costs that came directly from my beach house maintenance budget. She'd even deducted repairs on her taxes, repairs to my house, claimed as business expenses for her rental operation. The IRS received a copy of everything. The cousins whose properties she'd fraudulently listed joined the lawsuit. We weren't close. I'd met them maybe 5 times in my life. But fraud has a way of creating alliances. Sarah in Vermont had 14 unauthorized bookings at her ski condo. Michael in Lake George had 9. We compared notes, shared documentation, built an airtight case. The settlement came in December. Full restitution, $95,000 to the canceled VRBO guests, paid by Mom from the sale of assets. $127,000 to me for 3 summers of fair market rental value plus damages. $43,000 split between the cousins. Legal fees for all parties. A permanent injunction barring her from the Montauk property, with criminal trespassing charges if violated. The Range Rover she'd bought with rental deposits? Repossessed in her driveway on a Tuesday morning. I changed every lock at the beach house the day the settlement finalized. New alarm system with facial recognition. Different property management company. A firm based in Manhattan with strict instructions. No access granted to anyone without written authorization from me, regardless of claimed family relationship, regardless of emergency. I spent Christmas alone in Montauk. The house was quiet except for the Atlantic's rhythm outside my windows. I cooked a small dinner, roasted chicken, roasted vegetables, a bottle of wine I'd been saving. I worked on my 3rd book in the morning, walked the beach in the afternoon, watched the sunset from the deck where I'd gotten married, where Sarah Chin had toasted to sanctuary and belonging. My phone stayed silent. No calls from Mom. No texts from Dad defending her or asking me to be reasonable. No messages from my brother asking me to let it go for the sake of family. The silence felt different now. Not like absence or abandonment or the cold shoulder. Like peace. Like the sound of waves at night. Constant, reliable, indifferent to drama. On New Year's Eve I opened my laptop and checked my accounts. The restitution payment had cleared 2 weeks earlier. My savings were the highest they'd ever been, not primarily from the lawsuit, but from 6 months of not subsidizing their assumptions about my property. The monthly drain had stopped. The emergency requests had ended. The invisible bleeding of resources had finally been staunched. I booked a trip to Kyoto in March. First class. 2 weeks. A celebration I'd been postponing for years, always finding reasons to save money, to be practical, to defer joy. The Atlantic was dark outside my windows, rhythmic and eternal. The house was mine, legally, financially, emotionally. Finally, completely mine. I thought about the VRBO listing now permanently deleted from the platform. Finally making this place earn its keep, Mom had said to her book club. She'd been right about one thing: the house did earn its keep. It taught me the difference between family obligation and property rights, between guilt and boundaries, between what I owed them and what I owed myself. The account is closed. The calendar is clear. And I am finally the only name on the deed.